Head injuries can happen in almost every type of sport, resulting in concussion or brain trauma that can have serious long-term effects. That's why it's critically important to choose a doctor that specializes in brain injuries. Call Dr. Elizabeth Eversole at 469 726 2737 or go to her website, handmadehealth.com. That's handmadehealth.com.
Well, hello, everybody. Balls to the Wall, episode number 30 today. And I'm Kenny Matthews and my co-host, Billy Martin Jr. How are you doing today?
You know, every day we're doing a show. It's a good day. Yeah.
Yes, it is. And the crazy weather in Dallas continues. Storms, cold, rainy, doesn't matter what it wants to do. And today it's just a real windy, nice day here in Dallas. So it's kicking up the allergies, so I apologize if I sound a little nasal today. I apologize for that in advance. But if you live in Dallas, you got allergies. But I wouldn't trade this place for any place else to live, that's for sure. But we do appreciate you guys listening to us. And if you'd like to help us out, please subscribe, press the like button and a comment, and that will help us out big time on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor. It's real easy to do. We're not asking for any money from you guys. We just appreciate you to do that. That would help us out a whole lot. And your comments, we really would like to get. Those are the most important thing from us, to get comments so we can bring material to you guys that the listener wants to listen to. I know we're very vast in a lot of different sports, but if you want us to concentrate on something or pay more attention to a specific sport, please let us know. I know my man Billy Martin and myself would love to accommodate you guys. Billy, we have a ton of things to kind of just bring them all together here real loosely. We'll throw a whole lot of stuff out there. My first thing is I want to talk about, I know everybody knows who won the Masters. The 85th Masters was won by Scott Scheffler. And I mean, it was great to watch that amazing place last Thursday through Sunday. Just, even with the winds and everything on Saturday, Augusta is such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful setting. But the story is not who won, I think. I think the first 2 days, it was one Eldred Woods, who probably took a little bit of this, flair from some people. And Billy, this is one thing I want to know. The guy has not played professionally in 508 days before he walks the very hilly Augusta. People don't realize how hilly that place really is. And the guy almost had his leg amputated. And here he goes out there and he makes the cut, which, that's an achievement in itself. But he just brought excitement back to the Masters. I know he faded on Saturday and Sunday. That was to probably be expected. But man, it sure was just nice to see Mr. Tiger Woods out there hacking up grass at Augusta.
Well, yeah, and he did. He got us all excited. Day one, he was one under and looking great. Like we talked about last week. Come on, really? You can't let Tiger make it hard. I mean, but you think about it. Last year's Master, he was still in the hospital.
Yeah.
He was watching it from the hospital. I mean, yeah. And he's 46 years old. Ironically, finishing 47th in this tournament. And he's coming back. I mean, it's like we've talked about. He's the epitome of just proving how mental and how having your mind right is so important, because when the world found out Tiger was a naughty boy, he couldn't play golf anymore for a while. Now, yes, he's had injuries or whatever, but come on, that messed him up. And thank goodness he's over that and coming back, because we need him. Not that, hey, it's exciting for Scotty. I mean, kid's 25 years old. He's really I know that's your favorite school. And but I was that big of a number one golfer coming into this tournament.
Right.
So,
Right.
here's to him staying true, because it's easy to be ranked number one and do it.
Yeah, the kid's won 4 PGA events already and won. It's unbelievable to think that, it's not it's just April and you got 4 wins on the circuit, dude. I mean, you're gonna have to really tank for not being the golfer of the year right now. I mean, but the thing I liked about him is it seemed like, we saw him. I guess we'll go back. Last week we kind of talked about Roy McIlroy not making that jump when Tiger kind of was going through all of this stuff. Here Rory shoots a -10 on Sunday. I mean, ties the record of 64. I mean, at Augusta. That's just, that gave us a little bit of excitement on Sunday, just seeing his potential. Here's a guy that we all know can hit it long. He can hit it with the best of everybody else. It just seems like it always something keeps him from not being elite for some reason. He's got elite talent, and I don't know what it is, but it was nice to see him do that, though.
Well, I looked it up in the ancient dictionary of European names, and Rory means almost. So,
I like that.
But hey, we're talking about Scotty Scheffler, right? Who is a guy from Dallas who went to what high school?
The Scots.
Those guys know how to win championships. And today in Major League Baseball, the greatest pitcher ever to come out of Highland Park High School said, I've done enough today, as he left the game after 7 innings.
On 80 pitches
under his belt.
Just under 80 pitches. Just 80 pitches, too.
I gotta admit, as much as I love Clayton Kershaw, and I've met Clayton, and he is a quality human being, okay? But I'm sorry. I'm not coming off the mound.
Yeah, gonna have to be forced off the mound.
Throwing fastballs right down the middle.
You don't get many opportunities to have a perfect game. I said, you don't get many opportunities to even have a perfect game. So I'd like to know what was going through Dave Roberts' mind when he takes him out after 7. I'd like to know, was there even a thought of, let's push through this? I know there was an 85 pitch count before the game on Kershaw. Yes, I am conscientious about him being injured last year. Yes, and I know he really hasn't thrown much. I think he started throwing in January is what I read earlier. So, I know they don't want to push the envelope for, that guy. But sure, if anybody deserved the shot at going back out there and completing what he started, it was Kershaw. He's more than earned that.
I agree, but do you think Dave Roberts is really going to pull him? Walked out there. He's no way, Skip.
Yeah.
Not this time.
Yeah.
Not this time. Look, I'll groove heaters right down the middle. The first hit I give up, I'm out of here. But come on. His manager, Roberts would have said, all right, I'm with you. But you throw one ball, and I'm taking you out. Because that he could have gotten it done in 6 pitches.
Right.
They might have been all rockets, but look, you can't hit a ball out in batting practice every day. Right? So why not try? Why not just say, perhaps the hitter, what do you want? I'll throw it right down the middle.
Yeah. Well, and I think you made even a better point on that. They had a 6-run lead too. So,
Yeah.
it's not, normally when you get perfect games or no hitters, sometimes it's maybe a 1 or a 2-run lead. So they're pressure pitches. In this situation, there's not pressure pitches because he's thinking, well, we're probably going to win this game anyway. So, he topped out at 91 miles an hour on his fastball today. So, I know it was 39 degrees and windy and Target Field up in Minnesota today. So, you wouldn't think that he was overheated. You wouldn't think that. So, I could almost understand it on a 100-degree temperature day on AstroTurf or something like that. Maybe you don't want to push the envelope, but it was getaway day, Billy, and those Twins were ready to get on the plane, so they were swinging.
Oh, yeah. No, why not? Why not try? Because I literally think he should have yelled it to the other dugout. Just, hey, I'm grooving him right down the middle. Here you go. And I don't want to come out.
Absolutely.
As a hitter, how many of those guys do you think would walk up there and just take 2 to be a jerk? I doubt it. Just sit behind and go, oh.
And guys are swinging anyway because they still don't have a whole lot of ABs for this year. So have a lot of guys going up there just looking to try to get on base via the walk. They're trying to get their hacks in because, they still should be in spring training right now, getting their hacks. So, it's kind of, getting ready on the job, right now. So, yeah, I feel bad that he did not get to finish what he started. Inevitably, the reliever comes in, gives up a base knock. So, perfect game's gone, no hitters gone.
What? It was a broken bat single. The relief pitcher came in and totally beat the guy, broke his bat in half, and the guy gets one of these blow-up swings and gets a duck fart. And it's like, that was the baseball gods saying, really?
Yes.
You just left a freaking perfect game? Come on.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, I did want to wrap up one other thing with the Masters. I wanted to bring this to you. What about Billy Herschel? And the reason I'm bringing him up because Billy, he acted like us on the golf course when we just shoot a bad ball, dude. He was human. He threw his club. I loved every second of that because I said, it's okay to throw the club every now and then. It's okay to be upset because you can't hit that little white ball the way you want to. I thought that was so great for theater. Remember last year he got reprimanded for slubbing his clubs in his bag after a bad shot. And he had to come out and apologize. He comes out and does it again. And I just thought about it. For all of us hackers, he looked just like us.
And really, let's break that down a little bit. He has a lot more reason to get angry than we do.
Yes.
Because he's a pro golfer and he's bills, right? I was saying this to a friend of mine on the course last week because it's like, I try not to get that mad. I'll get mad for a second, but I'm like, really? Come on, Billy. You're not that damn good. Why are you that mad that you just shanked a golf ball? But this guy's a pro. He has a reason to get mad. And you're right. I do. I like when guys strike out and they get angry for a minute. Yeah, get your crap together immediately afterwards.
Sure.
But to show some real emotion, whether good or bad, I love that. That's, to me, what the game's about.
And it's entertainment. Say what you want. It's entertainment.
I've had enough of the little dance moves that guys do and all that stuff, the little jumps and this or that, but the real crap, throw something, then they get back together. That I love. That's human.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We do appreciate you guys listening to us. And if you'd like for us to help us out, you can still subscribe and press the like button and comments. Comments the key on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor. We greatly appreciate that. And any of your suggestions. We did want to move into baseball here. We got a few just nuggets that we want to kind of throw back and talk back and forth on. And you've already talked about Kershaw. Obviously, that's the story of the day so far. We're taping here on Wednesday. They obviously just completed their game a couple of hours ago. Couple things that I wanted to talk to you about. And look at this AL East as we're both kind of having the Yankee game on at the same time as we're doing this. And the fourth and the second lowest payroll in that division is, look, on top again. Those Tampa Bay, guys got off to a good week. They're 4-1. Billy, their shortstop, Wander. I mean, he's got 11 hits already in 5 games. I mean,
I wonder how many he's going to have.
Yes, dude,
Yeah.
I'm going. He's averaging 2 hits a game for the season. I mean, yes, they'll put him on pace for about 330 some hits for the year. He's not going to do that. But I was thinking, with all the pressure of him signing as a pure rookie last year, that big long contract, then to come off and get on a great start like that, that's got to do wonders for the kid's confidence going forward. I mean, what if he comes out and he goes 1 for 28 or something like that? We're all talking about the contract. Why'd you give this guy money now? You didn't have to lock him up.
Oh, yeah.
All that stuff. Man, now they're like saying, this stroke of genius, doing it right now.
When those guys sign those deals, you got guys in the clubhouse saying, you shouldn't have done that, man. You shouldn't have signed that. You're selling yourself short, man. You're better than that. And there's other guys that saying, oh yeah, I would have done that too. You don't know how they're going to handle it. But what we do know is, when was the last time you remember the Tampa Rays ever do that?
Yeah. I mean, they get rid of anybody.
Silent. So once again, the team that loses their general manager every other year, it seems like, right? And everywhere they go, they seem to do really well, huh? Wow, I made the right call. I wonder what they were thinking.
The team that makes you raise your eyebrows at trades from time to time, but more often than not, they're the ones that are fleecing the other person, it seems like. I mean, yes, Hunter Renfroe goes away right before the season starts. Everybody's at open arms about that. I just said the Rays have built up so much stock that they can make any trade in the world, and I'm going to say it, the Rays want it right now. It's just how it is, man. And they do it with an $80 million payroll. I mean, you're talking about the Yankees got 2 players that make $80 million. So it's like, they do it year after year. And if you look again at those arms in that bullpen, they started out with a 15-man pitching staff. And I believe I read that 12 of those can hit 100 miles an hour. In this day and age of nothing but volume and trying to get, MPH on your ball, that's pretty dang on good, dude. Pretty good. You're going to hit some swing and misses.
Well, no shocker that they have the percentage in baseball tied with the Colorado Rockies.
Yes. So. The Chris Bryant trade move looks great as they took 2 from 3 from the Dodgers this past weekend.
Right. They knew what they were doing. Let Arenado go. Let Story walk.
And congratulations to their skipper, Bob Melvin. He got his 1,000th win as a skipper over the weekend. Only 65 other managers in baseball have got 1,000 wins. And this historic game that dates back to 1877, not bad. Not bad. And I don't think anybody's going to say Bud Black belongs to be in Cooperstown, but for what he has done since his playing days has been pretty remarkable to me as a skip, because it's not like he's been on a bunch of teams that were loaded with a bunch of talent either, you know.
No, it's and that was, I was looking at an article today before we did the show on like 10 or 11 of the biggest off-season surprise moves. Of course, that was number one, because why would this team that paid the Cardinals to take Nolan Arenado and his all-star abilities, and they paid a big chunk of that deal to take him off their payroll.
Yep.
And then they let Story walk. And of course, Story, after watching what happened with Arenado, said there was no way in hell he was going back there.
No.
But obviously there's been a change of heart or a change of thought process at the top, because now they signed Chris Bryant to the second best deal after the Rangers Corey Seager deal. And so,
true.
Wow.
Well, do you think now that with the agreement that came out, Billy, that, you know, some of your young, you know, like, you know, Kansas City signing Greinke, the Pirates, you know, re-signing their players there, is there a cry now telling people you better spend some money, even though we've raised the luxury tax and all that? Do you guys down at the bottom? I mean, well, the Cleveland Guardians, look what they just got there doing, signing the third baseman. He signed an extension. Normally, you wouldn't have the Pirates, Cleveland, and Colorado signing anybody. Better yet, all within a week and a half of each other. That to me is telling me that maybe, you know, people are saying, all right, boys, you better spend some money, you know, on some players. I'm not telling you need to go up to, you know, exponentially high, but you can't sit around here anymore and have a $35 million payroll or a $40 million payroll going forward. And I think,
unless of course you're the Tampa Rays.
Yeah.
If you're the Tampa Rays, you can, but nobody else can. And you're right. And who would have ever guessed that the Texas Rangers would have been the lead dog on that whole hunt? I mean,
right.
It's pretty impressive.
And I think now you may also have what, you know, instead of it being called tanking anymore, do you just fire sell before the season starts like the A's did? So that way they won't be considered tanking this year because they don't have any major league quality veterans in their lineup. So nobody expects them to win. So did they tank in spring training as opposed to tanking in August, you know, or July this year? I mean, because the last person who left the A's, they need to turn out the lights. That team is not even remotely what we ended last October with. So, I mean, do you do it in advance now? You know, look at Minnesota, what they did when they signed Correa. It just seems like some of these lower teams kind of got a message, and I don't know if it's from Manfred. I don't know if it was from the other owners while they were going through all this negotiating with the Players Association, said, hey, you guys are getting luxury tax money from these guys paying over. You better start feeding that into some salaries and buying some people so that gives your fan base at least some hope, or building, please, I should say. You know, I'm not sure, Billy. I mean, but it just seems strange to me that those teams are going at it in completely different ways than they normally have.
Yeah, no, it is. And it's funny how, like, I have a real conservative nature because I live in the business and I see how much of it is about money. And I know that so many teams make their decision based on dollars and cents. And that's why this guy gets released and this guy gets called up, and when they get called up, and you know, it's not as romantic as people want it to be. And it would be nice to see those kind of changes being made, because
and service time changes.
Yeah. But I think most fans just associate my team's trying to win by how much they spend. And
will we have a Bobby Witt Jr. on the opening day roster this year with the old agreement? No, he wouldn't have been in the minors. Yes.
No, he made that team last year in spring training.
Yeah.
if you look at the 320 batting average he had, but for some reason, all that.
I mean, you got the Rodriguez kid in Seattle playing center field. He doesn't make this opening day roster this year under the old agreement. So I know we give baseball hell, but maybe now, at least we know if you got a phenom, it's now better to get him up earlier, now than it was where we said, hey, we want to start this service time at a certain whatever. Now, the Kansas City Royals, they're excited. I mean, Rex Hudler went through the roof when he announced Bobby Witt Jr. last week, when he came up for his first at bat. Now the Wonder Dog always comes through the roof anyway, but you know what I mean? He was excited about that. And I mean, I think that is a plus for the game for sure.
Yep, it totally is. And I mean, 'cause that's what gets you excited, right? You're going to the game and the freaking 20-year-old is up to bat,
right?
That they're saying it's going to be the next, who knows? And that's what it's all about, man. I love that. Think how excited you got when we saw Ken Griffey Junior's first couple years in the big league.
Absolutely.
And then how much that made, how much you remember throughout late in his career. And you're talking to your friends going, God, remember when he was 19 playing with his dad?
The kid. Well, I mean,
and by the way, one of the greatest young players in the game. You see what happened to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Just got his throwing hand stepped on, stretching for a ball, and
it was Hicks stretching for a ball, and Hicks stepped on his hand.
You know why Hicks did that? Because he dropped that ball. He hit over the fence. So it's payback.
It's bleeding pretty good. Yeah, that looks like that'll be stitched up. That look like that stitches ahead. That stinks. Yeah, I mean, I
couldn't catch your home run, so I'm gonna stomp on your finger.
I had a couple of other baseball notes here I wanted to throw out to you back here was this is what I didn't do this in our predictions last week, but I will do it this year. I've got the swinging A's, the D-backs, and the Orioles all losing 100 games this year. I don't see how the Orioles can scratch out 62 W's, 63 W's in the most competitive division alone with those four teams. The D-backs look like they're just listless. I don't know what to do about baseball in D-back land.
They got one guy. Well, they got one guy keeping on here. Watch a starter who started today for them, Merrill Kelly.
Yeah, he pitched great today.
Hey, his stuff is elite. If that guy stays healthy, he's so damn good. He's the kind of guy that could win 15 for this team. So
nice. Nice.
I also like to. I think David Peralta is going to have a big year for them.
But they're also they're in a competitive division too, though. I mean,
absolutely.
It's top heavy. With three teams, obviously. But I mean, the Rockies. The one thing the Rockies could do is pitch. The starters are pretty dang on good in Colorado right now. I'm still thinking their offense is a little bit probably just average. Their offense, but they're starting pitch.
I think they're better than we thought they were going to be, though. I mean, seeing them when they were here playing Texas, McMahon can hit. They've got. It's not just the high altitude. I think they got about 5 guys in that lineup that got a chance to be pretty damn good. So if their rotation does hold up, maybe they're going to be, at least they're not one of those teams you're mentioning as a 100-game loser.
No,
I might have said that earlier.
I did not do that because I knew that starting pitch is not going to allow them to lose 100 games. I know that division is tough, but I said starting pitching alone is pretty good. I'm a huge fan of that. The Orioles are just the Orioles. I do think I've been reading a lot with the Orioles, though. Billy, I think it's been consensus the last 2 years that they're kind of the number one minor leagues, with talent. And I know they made some more moves this offseason and brought them some more talent. I know the one thing that we haven't mentioned yet is that Camden Yards used to be a home run derby type year. Then they have expanded that now big time in the power alleys by 40 feet, piece. It used to be 360. Now it's 400 in the power alleys. So they're going to go to be where they're going to be a pitching kind of oriented, organization going forward instead of, offensively. And, I wonder how that plays. I'm not sure how that works in Baltimore, because it seems like whenever they start getting competitive, that's when they seem to tear things back down again. So, we're going to stick to the plan and maybe add, a person here or there to the team. I'm not sure, but this year I don't see how they can win 63 games, though. I just don't see it.
Well, they do have one starter I like, but I know what they're counting on. They're counting on their number one prospect, the number two prospect in all of baseball, and in Rushman, to come up and give the whole city hope for what their future is. And they had Mullins come out of nowhere last year to do what he did, and I do think there's a future there. Yes. I really do. If they can develop some of these young arms and hold on to them, I kind of like the plan they've made. I said this years ago. If I built a major league stadium, I'd build a pitcher's park, because it would seem like a lot more cost-efficient thing to do to have a great pitching staff and then build your team with quality defensive players who can run, hit for average, that maybe don't have any power, right? But guys who the exact opposite of the Joey Gallo world of this year of now baseball. Guys who can hit and run, bunt, small ball, that will always take advantage of a shift. But they can play defense and go pick everything. So you put a team like that on the field in a park that's hard to hit one out of, that all of a sudden every free agent pitcher wants to come pitch for your team.
Sure.
And to me, it's how much easier is it going to be to put that together, and how much more cost effective?
And it's allocating your dollars in the right spot, pitching. Really, that's bottom line is, anytime you have pitching, you're competitive. So if you're allocating it in the right spot and you're able to develop pitching, which is the other thing. I think that's been one of the bad things for the Rangers over the years, or even the Yankees for over the years. They haven't been able to develop starting pitching, for a number of years. And, the Rockies figured that out here the last 3 or 4 years, that nobody's going to come here as a free agent. So we better develop our starters now in the minor leagues to come up here and play for us in Colorado, because we can't go get a Kershaw or somebody to come here. So, I think that the Tampa Bay way of doing the things, I think a lot of people are trying to incorporate that a little bit into the organizations. And for what you just said, you have a big ballpark like Baltimore does now, you get better quicker. You absolutely get better quicker. You're not trying to outslug somebody every night 8-7 or whatever, 6-5. You're trying to win games 3-1, 4-3, somewhere in that range. I think it could work. I really do.
I think how easy is it to find a 300 hitter who hits 6 home runs a year, as opposed to a 220 hitter that hits 40. You know,
So you want
what's
you rather
the cost less?
so you rather have a whole bunch of Willie McGee's and Tommy Hers,
Yes.
grinders is
'Cause
what
I
I
thought
call
Tommy
it.
Her was a him.
Yeah.
He was so good. But
But yeah, I understand that. Give me that guy, any day of the week now, because I mean, listen, me being a Yankee fan, I've seen enough home run guys come through the pinstripes over the years. That formula is not really working for an elite status. I mean, yeah, it's good enough to get into the playoffs every year, but the swing and miss mentality is up and down that Yankee lineup. And I mean, I'm tired of seeing it. I really am. Besides DJ LeMahieu, everybody else takes hacks. I mean, it is what it is. And to be fair, I did watch the Dodgers play a little bit over the weekend. I didn't see as much swing and miss out of the Dodgers lineup like we have seen in the past. I don't know if it's a different approach. You're playing also in Colorado, so I know it's kind of can swing free and easy, but it didn't stop them when they went to the Minnesota this past week. They put up spots against them. So, give me the Freddie Freeman any day of the week in my lineup that's not striking out. I mean,
Yep.
I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I do have one bandbox that I am mad at baseball about. And let me tell you what it is. This siphoning out games to Apple TV or to Prime Video, I'm tired of. If you're a New York Metropolitan fan last Friday, if you didn't have Apple TV, you wouldn't have saw Mad Max's first start in a Met uniform. That to me is not right. I mean, you're doing the fan a total disservice by doing that. He's already paying for cable. SNL, SNY does their games. They're locally in the New York market. And now you're telling this guy that's gone through COVID for 2 years, whatever, to go find another outlet to watch his team. To me, I think baseball has overthought it. There's not enough money out there for me personally to think that you rather alienate baseball fans even more, and that's a bomb there. That's a bomb right there.
Wow.
I guess that's payback for Vlad.
That's on my finger, huh?
Good grief. And then the other thing, the reason I'm really mad about that, Billy, is come Saturday night, if you don't have Prime, you can't watch the Dodgers and Cincinnati Reds play on Jackie Robinson Day.
Yeah. What's that all about? Yeah.
I mean, it's the 75th anniversary. If anything, that game should have been on Fox. It should have been on a Fox affiliate where it is free. You don't even have to have cable. You could just be a person that just gets the regular basic ABC, Fox, and they're going to put that on Prime Video. I can't imagine the checks they're cashing is worth alienate. I have the MLB package. I can't get those games on that. And I pay DirecTV for that every year.
Thank you. And which brings up, so did you know, well, for the first time this year, I was able to watch an Astros game. I guess they finally lifted the blackout in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for the Houston Astros, because you know how many times that's kept you and me from jumping in the car and going to the game.
Yes.
Hey, come on, Kenny, let's drive 5 hours to the game in Houston. Oh no, Billy, I got extra innings. We don't have to do that. So I blacked out for years.
Right. It's just like the NFL ticket. I don't miss any games on the NFL ticket. I get them all. So if I'm gonna buy MLB package, baseball,
I want
package,
them all.
I want them all. I know where it's at. I don't need to go load up something and go find passwords and go to this or that to go find it. I mean, I don't need a roadmap to where all the games are at. I mean, it's real simple with MLB. It starts at 720 and work your way up. It's real simple on DirecTV. But I think that what them selling out to stream, I know I am already the old guy, get off my yard. I know it. But if you're average and you're asking the average fan to find games and they have to look for them, we as a society now get bored in a half second. We're not going to go through all that work. We're just not. Nope. So you're going to have people stumble across a game that's got Apple TV. They're going to go, oh, there's a baseball game here. Huh, shocker. I didn't know that. I just don't know why, Billy. I just don't know why. It irritates the heck out of me.
Yep, it does. And that's where there needs to be, salary caps or luxury taxes. They need to make it easy for those of us in life that want to be fans. They need to make that easy.
Yes.
They need to make it affordable for us to be able to go to a game. Shouldn't be a car payment for you to take your wife and kids to a baseball game. Grandpa should be able to afford to take his 4 grandkids to a game, but now that's a car payment. And that's where they need to step up and do something.
They need to go to the Arthur Blank mentality there. He's the owner of the Falcons. $3 Cokes, $3 hot dogs at games. He's been doing that now for a number of years now. I mean, he's got all the money in the world, and people say, well, he can afford that. But it still gives you the average fan that makes $35,000 or $40,000 a year to be able to take his kids to the game and say, here's your Coke for $2.50, not $8.50. Yep. So, I mean, I think sometimes we get convoluted a little bit about money being the bottom line sometimes. But if you're not going to do that, you still need to make it where it's still certain days of the week. I know there's dollar hot dogs, whatever. Isn't it better to have left field at a stadium with people in it on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night, even if it's at $5, than to be empty?
Yeah, just like it was when we were kids. That's why it's called America's pastime, Kenny, because Grandpa would grab you at any time and say, let's go to the game, because it wasn't costing him hundreds of dollars. It was like going to a movie, and that's what's wrong. Look, I even understand that more for a football game. There's only 8 home games, right? I mean,
right.
I get that being more of a big deal, an event, a tailgate, all that stuff. But
yeah, I was about to say, they've kind of gotten rid of the little kids being at football. They're not safe. I mean, on an NFL site anymore. I mean, every Monday you just look on your Twitter feed and there's fights in the stands everywhere. So I don't even know if you want to take your 10-year-old to an NFL game anymore. I mean, I really don't. But for baseball during the summer, that's his sport. That's the little kid's sport. I mean, that's his deal. And it's just, call it corporate, whatever you want to call it. It's they're again, the PA department, Public Affairs Department, MLB is again missing the boat. They're missing the boat somewhere. And
they need to hire Commissioner Martin to handle this from now on, because I'll make sure that every team has sections that are reasonably priced, or whatever seats are left over the last hour and a half before the game starts,
right,
get cut down to half price. There's just so many things like that should be a water, something we need to live.
Right.
Should not cost more than a whole case of it costs you at the store.
Yes.
Okay.
Amen to that.
I can get, well, and I'll say 2 cases, because they're $6 to $8 a piece. Well, I can get a case of water for $3.
Right.
So,
yeah,
so I can only buy 3 cases. Buy 1 water that I need to not be dehydrated, to not pass out.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree wholeheartedly.
About that lawsuit that's waiting to happen at a Texas game, or 100 temperature grade, and you walk in, you go to the ballpark, and I pass out. I'm dehydrated. I'm had to go to the hospital. I tried to buy water, but I only had $5 cash on me, and they were $7.
Right.
That's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
For
They
16
didn't
ounces.
give me water.
16 ounces too. $7, 16 ounces. It's unreal. It's unreal. I do want to end the baseball. I do want to end the baseball talk on our man Stephen Kwan. I know we're a little ahead of the game here a little bit. I know he played this afternoon, but we were talking off camera, Billy. You know, before today, he had seen 115 pitches and had not swung and missed at any of them. I could not believe that stat when I woke up this morning. And then I thought of, how many pitches has Joey Gallo already seen this year and swung? And I was thinking, he even swings and misses in BP. So good. But that's unreal. I mean, you're very close to the game, but that's unreal.
Oh, it is unreal. Well, and what's he had? 18 at bats, something like. Totally. I know he's had at least one sacrifice fly. Joey Gallo has only had 4 in his career. So put that all together. But
that stat's ridiculous because he's a fly ball hitter too. You know,
how can you not do that on accident? I don't get that, but Kwan did swing and miss at a ball today, and then struck out in that aim at bat. He of course still walked, got on base like he has every game, but
that's just unreal. That's just, I mean, that's knowing your strike zone, knowing your weaknesses. I mean, you know, knowing your strengths and weaknesses. Not, you know, if it's a little off the plate, don't swing at it. If it's a little low, don't swing at it. You know, and I guess what people need to realize is that when you get hitters counts 3-1, 2-1. That's generally those are the pitches that get hit. You know, a lot of people ask me why every 2-0 pitch, it seems like a professional baseball player is swinging, because he knows 9 out of 10 times you're grooving it right down the middle of the plate. And he knows that's where I can get the barrel of the bat on the ball, you know, and they call it batting practice pitch, you know. So, I mean, and you know, what he's also done in an area that, you know, Cleveland's been, you know, they've been ridiculed for how they've been running things with their free agents, running guys off before they're, you know, they get to, you know, full flat out free agency. I get it. There's, you know, small market town up there, but it brings excitement again. You know, that's another one of those teams where you have a young player now that's people are talking about it. It puts Cleveland on the map. That's a good thing for the game. It's not just the Yankees, the Dodgers, you know, it's good to see good fortune happen to these mid markets, because the more we have balance there, I think the game grows.
I totally agree. I think everybody just assumed the Guard Indians would be terrible this year. And, you know, and here they are off to a 4-2 start.
Pitching staff is really good. Pitching staff's really good again, Billy.
As you mentioned it earlier, they lay out the money for Jose Ramirez, and I got to admit, he scares me a little bit as a guy to lay out big money for, because he's a little overweight, right? And he looks like the angry human you've ever seen in your life, right? He's got the giant dip in. And
so you think
he's always got this up yours look on his face. I hate everybody. Like he's wearing really he play his butt off. And of course, you know, he's hitting 480 on the season. Nobody's talking about that. They're just talking about Kwan, who dipped under 600 today for the first time.
Yeah, and here's Quan batting 667 on the year, and was not leading, today. That would be Ian Happ of Chicago Cubs that comes in today with a nice, cool, red hot 700 batting average. Not bad.
Well, now Cleveland's got another guy, Owen Miller,
Yes.
a 25-year-old who's batting a crisp 524, who hit a couple home runs today. So, it's pretty neat what they're doing. Let's see if they, obviously, we're not going to be talking about these kind of batting averages here in a couple of weeks.
It's all
And how many
downhill from this point down.
Right, but how many of them, and even Quan, for example, just going over today, does that affect him?
Yeah.
Does he go, oh no, man, the sky's falling, or does he grind it out and put together a good season? I bet he's going to look pretty good.
And there's another thing called advanced scouting reports. How do you deal with advanced scouting reports? That's huge because, man, the way technology is now, buddy, woo, they're
finding out.
learn how to pitch to you real quick in this league.
Well, and vice versa. You watch these young arms that come up and just the aforementioned Merrill Kelly I talked about, right? Well, he looked great today.
Right.
Well, when guys like that come out and look great their first start, talk to me about it after their third start, because once they've got 3 starts in the major league, they have so they know their tendencies, they know what's on, that then you're about to find out what a guy really is.
Yep, absolutely.
And,
absolutely.
That's a pretty nice play kind of Felipe just made right there too. Did you see that?
Sure was. I know that Gleyber Torres wasn't making that play last year.
No. Another situation where we saw the mental side of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Gleyber Torres knew he wasn't a very good shortstop.
Right.
Knew he wasn't a caliber.
Right.
All of a sudden, when he lined up on that side of second base, he couldn't hit.
No.
Why couldn't he hit over there, but he can hit as a second baseman? Why is that? That's because our brain is the analytics will never totally figure out.
No, it won't. Oh, it won't. Well, we do appreciate you guys listening to us, and we want you to guys help us out a little bit if you can. Subscribe to us and hit the like button and comment section there on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor. We would greatly appreciate it. And I did want to wrap up a little bit about, it still feels odd for me to say this, the NBA play-in games started last night. The Nets beat the Cavs 115-108 to earn the 7th seed. Durant with 25, Kyrie Irving with 34. I think the key for the whole Nets team is if Andre Drummond can get you 16 points going forward. He's not really an offensive guy, but he's a great rebounder and protects the rim for the Nets. He's about the only guy on the Nets that plays defense, but if he gives you that kind of effort, Boston, you worked your ass off this year to get the number 2 seed, and now you get the top one. You get the Nets, the Brooklyn Nets now in the first round, because of the Nets with the Kyrie Irving not being able to play half the games this year because of the COVID shots. I don't think anybody wants to play Brooklyn in the first round when you got Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving on your team.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, well, how do you answer that? I
don't know. I don't know. I mean, Bruce Brown had 18 points for them last night. I mean, literally, you have the best offensive player in the league in Kevin Durant. You can arguably say the second best offensive player in the league is Kyrie Irving. So, I mean, and the Celtics, they get the number 2. Now, I will say this, them not playing Jason Tatum last weekend against the Bucks, that looked like that was going to be a game for the 2 or the 3rd seed. That was Bush League. That's one of the reasons why I'm not a huge fan of the NBA anymore. This load management, resting players throughout. I mean, we just talked about baseball tickets. Have you seen NBA ticket price tags? They're ridiculous. I mean, so what about if it's the one time you were wanting to see Jason Tatum play last weekend against the Bucks? You think you're going to have this great game, and he's in street clothes because they're resting him. I'm thinking, if you're the number 2 seed, you have this whole week to rest, Billy.
Yep.
You don't play till Friday. I just didn't get that. But anyway, that's another day for another deal. But it's just another one of those where the NBA's got to figure out, to me, and maybe one of the reasons why you and I don't talk about the NBA as much, they have de-emphasized the regular season now. The NBA has, with load management, not playing back-to-back, whatever may be the case. So then why are we going to talk about, I hate to use this word because I know it's not, but it's almost routine, meaningless regular season games now. The only thing we talk about now is the playoffs with them.
The last 2 minutes. I like watching the last 2 minutes of every game.
Yeah. That last 38 minutes with timeouts and TV timeouts. But yeah, I just, I tried my best this year to try to watch games from beginning to end, and it was just a waste of my time. I got more books read during that time than I can imagine. I had more cocktails with my books than you can imagine. The NBA to me, I think I think Steve Kerr made a great point. This is what I read the other day. Shorten the NBA season and you won't have load management. So instead of playing 82 games, he suggested you play 72 or 70 games. I said, okay, that sounds pretty good. Yeah, and you even start the season a little later. You're not starting it like at the end of October when college football and pro football is kind of hitting their threshold. Right. Yeah. Maybe you start it Christmas Day. Start the season on Christmas Day. That to me was it wasn't far-fetched. Now, I don't want them ever to reduce the baseball schedule from 162. So I'm not a fan of reducing seasons. I'm really not.
I mean, that's the only problem with the NBA. Then, season point totals and stuff. But, if you really think about it, it's the per game averages that matter the most in the NBA games anyways.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they talk about, rebounds and points per game and assists per game. Everything is.
Yeah. What the heck, man? I'd like that better. I just noticed that I enjoyed the college games so much more than I did in the game.
Yeah.
And honestly, find the best GM in Mavericks history, and guy I call a friend anyways, but he's going to get him back for about 50 million. So it's okay. It's hard for me to cheer for him right now. And I hate that.
Well, and for me, I know this is another reason why I'm that old guy, get off my yard now. I've had this argument with my Barry Williams when I told him the NBA was a better game in 1980, 1990, 1995. I said, you cannot convince me that today's game is better when it's just a bunch of pick and roll and drops shooting threes and going to the lane where there's no defense being played. You have eliminated basically the center position in the NBA, which that was the vocal point. That's what brought the NBA to its heyday, was George Mikan before Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, you built the sport on the big guy, and now he's neutralized. You've got people like Drew Timme that are in college right now, where 10 years ago, he would have been a top 3 pick in the draft. Now he can't even fight to get in the top half of the second round, because nobody wants the big that can play down low anymore. I just don't know how the game is better by it. I don't. And I also know another thing is the foreign influx that came into the NBA as great as it's been, they're still not marketable. They're not marketable because they don't learn the English language enough for them to be in commercials. So when you got your best players not on commercials, that doesn't make the game better. I'm trying to just simplify things for people, and they murk it up with trying not to make it simple too much to me, Billy. I don't get it.
Well, my father said in the 80s, my father said to me, the game would be, and he played, he was a high school basketball player, and they wouldn't let him play football because they were afraid he'd get hurt because he was too important to basketball and baseball at Berkeley High. But he always said the game would be so much better if they raised the basket or outlawed, because he thought that took away from the strategies and the ball movement and play. I think there's a lot to that. At the time, I thought the dunk was really cool, and I still love the alley-oop so much more than I do just the dunk.
It's got its place in the game, but I think that what it became more of an individual game. Now it's an isolation game. It's not the team rotating the ball all the way around, back picks, back doors, things of that nature. And I tell people that tell me that NBA was boring, go watch the 86 Celtics, how they played, how they passed the ball, and they had big guys that contributed left and right. I said, if you tell me that was bad basketball, then you don't know what basketball is then. Because, now it's pick and roll, come back. If he doesn't have a shot to the lane, they come back and do a pick and roll on the other side. That, to me, is monotonous. As great as the athlete is, there's no question athlete's 10 times better than what was in the 80s. I'm not disputing that at all. I said, but you can't tell me that these guys are better basketball players than they were in the 80s and the 90s. No, because now they're just getting away with their own athleticism to score. And now I'm not saying it's unwatchable, because I'd say it's a lie. But for me, for a guy that for a number of years had that NBA pass, I haven't had that NBA pass on DirecTV for a long time now, Billy. I stopped that a long time ago because I said, it ain't worth it. If it ain't on TNT, if it's not on Valley Sport, I don't have to hunt and look for it. There's plenty more other entertaining things that I could be doing.
Well, I'll come watch those with you.
I did want to say one quick thing. The T-Wolves did beat the Clip Joint last night, 109-104. I will say the funny thing about that game, when was the last time you saw an NBA player of star quality like Karl Anthony Towns? He picks up 4 fouls in the first half. I'm going, why did he not take him out after 3? I didn't quite get that. But Patrick Beverley had to have a little vindication. He got traded from the Clippers last August. He beats his old team back. He beats his old team last night. They will play Memphis. Anthony Edwards, man, had a great game. He was 5-11 for three-point land, and he had 30 points. And then D'Angelo Russell had 29 points. You get that kind of production out of those guys, they're going to be extremely tough out as a number 7 seed, theme that we just talked about before with the Brooklyn Nets. So I think the West is completely wide open this year. I don't think there is a clear-cut favorite in the West at all. I know the Suns are good. I know Memphis is number 2, but none of them scare me at all if I was a 7th, 8th, or a 6th seed. I think you can go in their place and win.
Well, and like you said, it's all about the playoffs anyways in the NBA. So that's might as well shorten the season, add another round of playoffs. And
works for me. I think I love NBA basketball in the month of May and June. That's what I like NBA basketball. So if you don't want to start me until New Year's Eve or December, I'm fine with that. There's no question. But I will, do they still call it the Lawrence O'Brien Trophy? The NBA trophy? I don't know if they do or not. I was wondering in that. I need to look that up. I was really thinking about that the other day. I really was. Well, we want to appreciate you guys listening to us. I always tell Billy this every week, and I sincerely mean it. It's our funnest hour of the week to talk sports. I love talking about it and have a good time with that. My man Billy knows his stuff, so love just going back and forth with stats and things of that nature. It's always fun. I did send you the stat about Tony Gwynn, didn't I? About the strikeouts. That was pretty fun. It's just, I know we're baseball guys, but I do think the swing and miss mentality does take away from the game too. I know I'm the old guy, get off my yard, because I think the game was better in the 80s and the 70s and the 60s and the 50s than it is now with the swing and miss mentality. That's not fun. It's not fun to watch guys go up there and swing and miss all the time. It's, put the ball in play and see what's going on, go to the next pitch, whatever. This day and age, people just not having any patience. I think it's a bad omen, for lack of a better term. It's a bad omen. They're going to have to try to fix it. Maybe them getting rid of the shift next year will help the game move around a little bit. I don't know. Hopefully that will be the case. But anyhow, we do appreciate you guys listening to us. Billy, we will be back next week. Talk some more sports. Man, it's been fun. Oh, and is there any more anticlimactic golf event than the Heritage Open after the Masters?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that today going, and it's a $9 million purse. So, I mean, they're getting advertisers, to come in there and do it. But I'm like, those guys are so removed after being at the beautiful place, Augusta, for a week and a half. And then to say, oh, let's go to the Heritage. No, I'm going home. I'm going to go home and take a little rest. Nothing tops that scenic view that I just had. Why am I going to rush into an event, the following week?
Yeah, no, you're right. Out of if nothing else, out of respect to the sport and the Masters, there should be like a 2-week break.
It's Easter. Yes, and it's Easter weekend. It's perfect to take the weekend off. It's perfect. I would love to see the ratings this weekend of the Heritage Open on Easter weekend. Oh gosh, but I just wanted to say that. But yes, we do appreciate you guys listening to us here. Balls to the Wall, episode number 30 in the books. We will see you guys next week. Appreciate you so much.